Well, I've developed what I call liberation ecology. I wrote a book called Nature's Web, which was exploring ecological thinking, our relationship with nature, rethinking our place on Earth. Which was followed up by another book called Riding the Wind, and liberation ecology for a new era. And in there, I go beyond what I think has been some cases a rather fruitless opposition between deep ecology and social ecology. And so I put forward as a suggestion a liberation ecology, my own version, as being a deep social, holistic and libertarian. It's holistic in the sense it's taking, recognizing that some the sum is greater than its parts, and that we are all these strands, interrelated strands within nature's web. And it's deep in that it tries to go to the roots of the present ecological and political crisis, by realizing that it's based on domination within society and states, and the domination of nature, and how we conquer and exploit each other as well as other species. And it's social in recognizing that we can't change our relationship with nature unless we also change our relationship with each other. Well, in fact, the two go together. It's a part of a continuous process. And just so we have to try and change the way we live, as individuals as well as groups in society. And it's libertarian in seeking to release all species, human and otherwise, all beings, and also larger natural organisms, whether it's woods, lakes, rivers, and the sea and the air, from their burden, so that particularly the human burden, so that all of us together can fulfill our potential and our natures. And within it, I also develop a view of evolution and of our relation, what is nature, and our place within it, and offer also anarchistic suggestions about how we can organize society, how we can sort of turn work into something meaningful and joyful. I even go into the sort of what I call the enigma of love, and looking at education and organising an economy based on a common treasury. So it's really an analysis of our place within nature, and how we can create a better world for every being. I mean, it's based on from its sort of moral point of view. It's based on 4 principles, and the first is that nature has an intrinsic value. It's not a means to our own ends. It has its own value in itself, and we should respect that and recognise it. Well, when I say should, that's a sort of rather cursive way of putting it, but it's something which I recommend. And the second point is that all life is sacred, and that inevitably to live, whether it's other animals or plants, but there's some degree of killing, even walking across the grass here, cutting trees to create chairs for ourselves. But we can try and recognize, though, that all life is sacred, and we take life. We recognize what we are doing, and we also try and do it in a caring way and keep it to a minimum. And that leads to my third principle, which is of minimum harm. it's very difficult to. I mean, people in the past have always argued for somehow trying to maximise the general good of others, but it's very difficult to define that, and it's, I think, much better to try and in one's own life cause the minimum harm. It's a bit more easy. It's easier, I think, than trying to maximise good, and that means trying to kill as little as possible, and trying to live as lightly on the earth as one can. And these three coming together, I suppose, to do to what I would call reverence for being, is that we live on this earth for a short period. We inevitably use its resources, but we can try and give back as much as we can, hopefully more than we take, and that we have a generosity of spirit and a sort of a benevolence that we can have to enhance things rather than destroy them. So that's what I try to develop in my system of liberation ecology, and I think that it's difficult to realise, but one can always try.